Just double checking everything. All right. So I am just going to kind of chat a little bit. Hello, Carolyn from Florida. I bet it's nice and warm there. Oh, you're all good, Lisa. I do appreciate you chatting for me yesterday while I was having a major hiccup. I appreciate everybody's patience yesterday and those who tried to join. I, I really do appreciate that. You guys had a nice little conversation, and while I was in the background screaming at my computer. But I figured out what happened. I know exactly what happened. It was technology. And sometimes those things happen. And like I said, I appreciate everybody's patience. I appreciate you, Lisa, for sitting and chatting and waiting. But today we're going to be able to create a card and have some fun. Oh, thanks, Lisa. Oh, it's pouring rain. Oh, can you send some of that rain to Colorado, please? Please? We need it so bad here. Okay, so I'm Miss Carrie. If you're not aware, I do the social media end and kind of a little bit of the marketing end of this Calls for Confetti. Um, I'll do a quick introduction and then we'll kind of get into the project. Uh, so I have been creating cards. I've been doing videos for a really long time. I was talking to my husband yesterday. It's been over 15 years now. Um, and I've done some occasional live streaming, but most of it was like on Facebook. And Lisa and I've been chatting that we just really wanted to start sharing ideas with you guys, give you guys inspiration, um, because you just want to be able to make things, right? And so do we. We want to be able to show you how to make things. So that's what we're going to start doing every Thursday. Lisa and I will be switching on and off, and showing you how to make some fun items with this Calls for Confetti products. Um, we are going to do something a little bit different. Instead of having new products every single week, we have picked three feature products that then we're going to show you how to use all month long. So you don't have to go out and buy a ton of supplies. You just got those three feature products, and then we're just going to show you how to use them, which I think is going to be super fun for all of you, because inspiration is always something that, like I said, we love doing. So I'm just going to make sure that I've got everything's up and good. Looks like I got some more people joining. Hello, Von Marie. I saw that you were here yesterday. I appreciate your patience yesterday. um, for keeping up on all of that, and all of you guys just being, like I said, super patient, and willing to come back today. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch cameras real fast because I want to be able to show you the three. Well, I have two of the three featured products, and then I want to show you another thing that's super fun, and then we'll get started with the card making. Okay. All right, so you should all be able to still hear me. Yes, today is a new day. All right, so here are two of the products Sorry about that. Two of the products that we're going to be using throughout the month. So this is the Pin and Plan stencil and die bundle. So if you have the Pin and Plan die, this is designed to be able to fill in all of those little pieces with ink. And then there's some other dies that you can fill in the smaller parts and the different larger parts. And then there's also dies that you can cut out the parts and pieces to then layer on top of that Pin and Plan die. And Lisa shared some really great projects last week using this. So if you want to learn how to make them, this is going to be great. Her video is a great resource to be able to learn how these work. The other one is this. I think this is one of my favorites. It's called Express Delivery, and it's just kind of those vintage stamps, you know, with the North Pole. This one says North Pole Reindeer Training Academy. Just some fun things, and the majority of these actually fit like inside your little Pin and Plan windows, which is really nice. And then the other one, which this is my fault. I thought I had it and I don't, but it's the Happy Holidays sentiments. But we're actually going to use, a different sentiment today. But before I get to the card, I do want to show you, I don't know if you guys saw this. Lisa came up with a freebie for you guys. All of these little parts and pieces fit within your little Pin and Plan. So you're going to be able to print this off the website. It is a free download. It's a PDF, so you do need like an Adobe or a PDF viewer to be able to print it. I just printed it on plain cardstock. If you have a laser, right? No. I just lost my thought. A printer that you can print, I believe it's a laser printer, that then you can print it and foil it if you want. And Lisa shared some photos on the blog that are just toner printer. Thank you, Lisa. A toner printer. But Lisa shared some photos on the blog. It's absolutely gorgeous. The way she foiled all of these and put them in the Pin and Plan. Oh, super gorgeous. Super gorgeous. Okay. Hello, Handy Scandy. Marie. Hello. Hello. Okay, so we're gonna be making a card, of course. Using the Pin and Plan elements. So this is the card we're making today. But we're going to make this, like I said, with the different Pin and Plan elements and just some of the stamps that we have, some other fun things from This Calls for Confetti. Everything that I'm using today, minus the inks, is going to be from This Calls for Confetti. And once I'm done with this video, I'll make sure that everything goes down in the description so that you guys have all of the links. Okay. The Layer It die set is one of those that you definitely want to have in your stash. And it's got this great stamped scallop kind of stamped edge, and then there's some frames and some tags. So it's definitely one that like you can use year round. So that is our background piece. And then for our sentiment, I have cut 2 layers from the fancy frames. Again, this is one of those just like generic frame pieces that you're going to, like I said, keep year round. And I always keep extras in here. One thing I want to note, when you're when you are cutting out this frame, you're going to look at this and kind of think, okay, where is this second layer? Okay. So this layer here is from this fancy frame. Okay. And then this layer here is actually the inside, the negative piece of this frame here. So these were designed to all nest within each other to get some really great, different layers and designs. For this card, I'm using the negative and then the cut from this. So if you're wondering where that came from, that's where it came from. You can catch the replay though. Always remember these are going to be, that's why we moved them over to YouTube so you guys can catch them all the time. Okay, so the next thing you're going to need are some little rectangles. These are cut from that Pin and Plan die bundle. Okay, so this one that I'm using for all 6 of these is this cut here, and I've already cut 6 of them out. And so we're going to go ahead and grab our inks and we're going to add some shading to them using our stencils. Now I did cut these out and then I'm adding the shading separately. If you didn't want to do this second layer, you could just stencil directly onto your card background. I knew that I would probably end up like making a mess of that and not getting any of it straight. So that's why we're using the stencils and separate cuts. I don't know, how many of you are like super talented where you could just stencil this like directly on to the card background? All right, there it is. Oh, thank you guys. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we are going to add our ink to over our top of our stencil. Like I said, the reason I decided to go with the stencil was so that I got some of that white in the center. Okay, so we're just going to go around. I'm using Candy Apple, which is a nice bright red. And then I'm just adding like a little bit darker around the edges. Like I said, so we get kind of that vignette effect on there. Thank you, Tara. Yeah, it always happens during a live, right? I do appreciate all of you guys' support. You guys are always so sweet. I love it that most of you are like, yeah, been there, done that. I think it also, I used to teach like in-person classes at a coffee shop once a month. And there was also stuff that just like happened too. It's like when you were teaching, you could make the cards over and over again at home, make sure you had all the supplies that you needed. And it was during the live class, when you're in front of a bunch of people, that something weird happens, So you could do this. I'm doing these all the same color just because it's a lot faster. But you could definitely bring in multiple colors with this and like alternate out some reds and greens. Last week, Lisa did pastel Christmas colors, which are always great. I'd like to know though, I think like when it comes to Christmas, I think you're either like a traditional color person, or like I guess what you would consider alternative colors, the pastels. Here at our house, we have black and navy for Christmas. Uh, with a little bit of like some neutral tones. But I'd like to know, like, what are you guys like Christmas color wise? Are you guys, um, more of those traditional reds, greens, um, gold, or are you a, I guess, all different, an alternative color, more of the brighter Christmas? I know some people too, like my mother-in-law, my in-laws had a Victorian house that they renovated, and there were multiple Christmas trees in the house. So each tree was a little bit different. Blue and silver. Yeah, I love blue and silver. Lisa says whatever she's in the mood for. Yeah, my mom used to buy new ornaments every year. She had a different themed tree every year. That's when I was older. When we were younger, I think we had a lot of handmade ornaments. But when I got older, she went more for the themed trees. I think some people do the themed trees too. Like, are you, you know, do you stick to a theme or do you have all, you know, gifted and handmade ornaments? Yeah, Tara, I mean, I think for me too, I think the reason I do Christmas now is because it's kind of within the like what everybody's doing in the craft world, but I would rather do Halloween. Bon Marie says she always comes back to traditional. Rose, gold, seep, and champagne. Oh, that sounds gorgeous, Gigi. Gifted and handmade ornaments. All right, so our next step, we're going to actually make this look like a random pattern paper. And so I'm just going to grab, and you can actually use any of the stamps on here. Any of these would work. I'm just going to use the one that says Christmas. And then I've grabbed Lumberjack Plaid, which is just a little bit darker. And honestly, we are not going to be perfect about this. We are just going to randomly stamp the word Christmas on here. And I think this is where you can kind of get fun with crafting because quite a bit of this is going to be hidden. So it doesn't need to be, 100% perfect. We just want it to look like a pattern paper that you might have in your stash. So I don't know how well you can see that. I'm going to try to bring it up to the camera. We're just going to do very random. Okay. I think I will admit that perfectionism is an issue that I deal with a lot. The card needs to be perfect, not done, right? I don't know how many of you have that mantra. But I've been lately trying to do better at just some of this random, more of the art like look and give myself permission to not have it be exactly perfect and lined up and um, pristine. You know, these are we have to come to the realization that these are handmade cards, and it's okay for them to look handmade. You could, yes. If you did not want to stamp these, you could also use pattern paper. This Calls for Confetti has the the two um, Christmas post paper packs. You can actually just cut this from pattern paper if you didn't want to do all of the stamping. I did bring out this little green one here. This one was done with the lights that are in the stamp set. So you can see that gives you like a different look with green. And then these two, I just need to do the top of this one because it's going to be in the center. The green with the lights is really pretty. I almost thought of like, what would it be to heat emboss those lights on with white? Um, and really make them stand out on the green. There's also the ho ho ho. I mean, you could do the little ho ho ho's. There's cheer. Um, the North Pole Express delivery is a little bit bigger stamp. You could definitely do that one. You could mix and match them if you wanted to. There's a lot of options on that express delivery stamp set. Okay. Now, if you're one who does spatter or any other type of mixed media, you could definitely add more to this. But yes, the tone on tone to me is just a really nice, simple, doesn't require a lot of work. Makes it quick. I mean, when it comes to Christmas cards, I think a lot of us are making things in bulk. So it's nice to have like a design that you could easily repeat, right? Okay, so the next thing we're going to make are these little tiny squares. And we're going to do that with this part of the pin and plan die. Now, before we cut it out, we're going to add some double-sided tape to the back. Actually, wipe that up before I get that all over a card, because you know I will. I mean, how many times have you had to, find an embellishment to cover where you just put an ink smudge? So I'm just going to grab some double-sided tape and put this on the back. That's going to save me a little bit of time. And then I am going to just use brushed corduroy, which to me is really similar to like a gingerbread color. And I'm just going to ink it up. You could use some pattern paper if you have it. But we only need 4 of these. Too many to count. Yeah, the times that we get ink, like I often get it like right here on my hand. And then I'm like touching all these things, wondering where is that ink coming from? Lisa said her mom did kind of the themed tree too. Cardinals. Oh, cardinals are pretty. All right, so we're just going to put our die right over where that tape is. We're basically just going to make little stickers. Yeah, I did deconstruct it. I did. I was like trying to figure out a way. How can we use? I love deconstructing things though. I always like to figure out like how can we use this a little bit differently and just have fun with it. Okay, so like I said, this is one of those cards you could definitely make in bulk. Make all of your pieces ahead of time, pop them into some little envelopes, baggies, little zipper baggies. Put all the pieces together, make a bunch of different colors, and then just build your little grid cards. I'd like to know like what other colors. Like I said, I stuck with really generic ones. But are there like other colors you're thinking about doing, like using these with? Oh, a sink in the craft room. Wouldn't that be amazing? I have a bathroom like right around the corner. It's the guest bathroom, so I have to make sure that all my craft stuff is out of it whenever somebody shows up. But it, um, yeah, to actually have a sink in the craft room, wouldn't that be amazing? All right, and then since we made these into little stickers, these are going to go on really quick. So we're just going to, like I said, you only need 4 of them because the rest, I mean, it's all going to be covered with the sentiment. So why take the time to put them down? That's my, if nobody's going to see it, why should I put it there? Yeah, and that just having them as a little sticker. I do this with die cuts a lot. Just put the double-sided tape on the back before you cut it out. Most dies will cut through your. Oh, we need 8 of them. Yeah, 8 of them. But most dies will cut through right through your sticker and your or your adhesive and your cardstock. Yeah, I counted wrong. I needed 8. Grab that real quick. I'm glad you'll give that a try. It, especially when it comes to some of these like teeny tiny ones. I mean, like, um, I'm trying to think of like when you've got like the little eyeballs for, you know, a little head or, um, you know, the little berries on a stem, you know, those, I mean, you can use like a fine tip glue pen to get those down, but sometimes just making them into little stickers just saves your sanity. All right, and like I said, you only need to get 8 of these in place because our frame is going to cover the rest. If you use a different frame, you might need to do more. Like I considered bringing in, like you could do this frame, that would hide most of it, but this smaller frame, you could do that instead. You'd still do 8. I consider doing this out of vellum and then doing a sentiment on top. I love using vellum. You could do an arch in the center. There's a lot you could do with this. Okay, so our main pieces are done for our background. Like I said, there's a lot you could do with that. Oh, yes, the dots on the letter I, the one you always lose, right? I don't know. I have lost the dots on my eyes so many times. Okay, so we're going to do the sentiment and do our stamping on here. So let me grab this. I'll pop it down in here. I am going to be using a sentiment from, these are 3 sentiment designs at This Calls for Confetti. They're all designed to go on the inside of your cards. I think the inside sentiments are like the hardest to find. But all of these are designed to go on the inside, but they also work on the outside. Okay. So this one's called The Light of the Season. That's the one that we're going to use. And then there's one that's called Believe in Magic. And like I said, they're just very simple, like just kind of a basic font with some nice sayings. And then this one's called Christmas on the Homestead. So they've got some nice just horizontal ones, and then they've got some larger ones. You could use them inside or outside. We're going to do it on the outside. Yes, they were created to go with last year's ephemera. We had some ephemera that went inside the window that was lighthouses and like some country scenes. And so they match those really well. Double-sided tape on the vellum. Yeah, usually I have to use a double-sided tape or, you know, strategically hide where the adhesive goes when it comes to vellum. Someone told me at one time there was like a vellum tape that was specifically for adhering vellum. I have not found it yet. But I got a little acetate in there. That was fun. It worked out though. Yes, these sentiments are so nice. They're just 3 very simple, like I said, very simple designs, but ones that you can use over and over. I mean, there's some that you could use. I mean, believe in joy, believe in love. That's something that's a year-round one. All right, so I'm going to put just a little tiny 25 up here. And I want this to be kind of distressed. So I'm not going to press my ink pad on it all the way. I'm just going to lightly tap it. I shared a video with this showing how to just create that distressed look by tapping. So it kind of gives you just the hint of the 25, but it still gives it like it's a worn postcard or a postage stamp. And then I'm going to do this little, the cancellation mark. We're going to do that one right here. Tara, yes, I think we all have like, a long list of things that are like, oh, I need that, you know. The website now has a wish list. I don't know if you knew that, but you can set up your wish list on this calls for confetti, and I believe you can send your wish list to, your spouse or kids, your parents, hey, if you don't know what to get me for Christmas, or just because you love me, All right. And so I'm also going to stamp this little Santa mail. I've just got a random piece of cardstock here. And I'm one that likes to repeat my colors on my cards. So since I used candy apple on the back, I'm just going to use candy apple here. And yes, I know I'm stamping with distress oxides, but I actually like the way they look. And it does take a minute for distress oxides to dry, so give them a sec before you pop them down onto your cards so you don't smudge them. All right, and these are 1 inch around, so most of you probably have a 1 inch punch to punch them out, which makes it super simple. All right, now we can start putting everything together. Yeah, I'm glad you do too, Von Marie. Some people have told me in the past not to stamp with distress oxides, but I like the way they look. All right, I am going to add, I'm just going to take some residual ink here. I'm just going to go around the edge just to kind of have this match the rest of my card, since the rest of it kind of has that softer look. I like using the residual ink for that because then you don't get too much. And then these nested dies, like I said, they fit perfectly within each other to create a frame, and it's a good size frame. I don't know about you, but sometimes with nested dies, like either the frame's way small and like you can't even see the color underneath, or it's so big that like it almost feels like the frame overpowers. So I love that this is the frame size is like just perfect. Okay, so I'm one that loves to bring in foliage. If you see my cards, you know there's always going to be either flowers or leaves. And so I did cut some leaves for this. These are from and I always say this wrong, Autumn Artisan. Is it artisan or artisan? I've heard it both ways. But this is, we're going to use the leaves from this. It's considered fall, but honestly, these little berries are great for Christmas. The leaves are great for Christmas. I mean, acorn, you can use any of this year round. So we're going to bring in just some little leaves, of course. Tara, give your husband heart palpitations if you ever sent it. That's funny. My husband's usually one that like just asks me, "Do you want it?" Then get it. It's just not worth the argument. Or there's not even an argument. It's not even worth like just, thinking about it. He's just like, "Do you want it?" Then grab it. So we're just going to add our little leaves. And I love going in a diagonal flow on my cards. I do that on my scrapbook pages too. I actually started that on scrapbook pages, and I learned about flow on scrapbook pages because most people in most countries, they will start on the left and then they go to the right. That's kind of your natural reading flow. So if you do your cards or your pages going in that flow that most people read, you'll kind of direct them to the things that you want them to see. Put some little things there, and then we're just going to, and you can use foam tape if you want. I think sometimes when it comes to Christmas cards, you can go either way. It depends on how much postage you want to pay. Like this one, I definitely use the foam tape. You can see there's some dimension there, and then this one we're not. I don't think there's a whole lot of difference other than the dimension and then how much it's going to cost to mail it. Because a lot of dimension here in the US requires it to be hand canceled, versus if it's flat, you don't have to worry about that. My husband gave up, Gigi. Yeah, I think sometimes it's just like, if it makes her happy, it's okay. All right, and then you can add your gems, your sequins, make it look like little berries. But that's the basic, really simple design for the card. And like I said, it's something that you can do in bulk. Do it over and over again in some different colors. I mean, I love the look of the lights. I think you could do, a green one. You could bring in like what champagne, rose, those colors sound gorgeous together. All right, so I'm just going to do some quick reminders while we finish up. We have the featured products of the month, which is the express delivery stamp, the pin and plan stencil and die bundle, and that happy holidays. Since they are the featured products for our lives this month, they are 25% off. And then for a short time, they're the Christmas items. So anything that's marked as considered a Christmas item on the site is also 25% off. So make sure that you snag those. And then while you are on the site, don't forget to download your copy of this printable that Lisa created. Like I said, these are designed to go inside. Let me find my template here. Inside your pin and plan. So you can put these inside of that die. And there's some, cute, like this sentiment fits perfectly in there. Look at that. Isn't that cute? Literally, you just have to print it and it's ready to go. Okay. And then if you have a toner printer, you could print it with a toner printer and foil it. All right. Okay, so I'm going to try to switch cameras. Thank you, Von Marie. Yeah, sometimes the cards come back. There we go. Ta-da! I really appreciate you guys. Oh, the little hiccups. Like I said, I know exactly what is going on. I know what happened yesterday. And I know what's going on today. We're going to get that fixed. Oh, thank you, Lisa. Thank you. The printables. So, Gigi, yes, if you just go to thiscallsforconfetti.com and if you go to shop and then digital products, and you'll be able to download that printable and be able to use it on your Christmas cards. And if you guys end up using them, please, please, if you're one who shares on social media, or if you just want to share it in the This Calls for Confetti Glitterati group, we would love to see how you use them. So if you do share them on social media, make sure that you tag us, because I love to share those in our stories and show other people how you guys are creating. If you're not a social media person, you don't like to put it out there, but you want to share it with like a small group of friends, you can definitely join the Glitterati group on Facebook. And you can, one, search the albums there for more ideas, and two, just share your project that you made using these, because as card makers, we love inspiration. Okay. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Again, I appreciate your patience yesterday. I appreciate your patience with me today. And I hope that you guys can join us next week. Lisa will be live. Um, she is going to do a much better job. But Lisa will be live. And like I said, she'll be sharing those 3 products, our featured products of the month, once again on another card. All right. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And I really can't wait to see what you guys create with the items I shared with you today. We'll talk to you guys later. Thank you, everyone.